the House of Improvements presents Resin Crafting, Risk Collected. Today's episode, I'm going to use a little bit of these flowers and some other things to make some fun Valentine's Day themed resin art. We're going to finish up this tic-tac-toe mold that we did last time, as well as this new bowling. It actually has all 9 pins. It has the lanes, it has the side on it, and a little holder for a ball-bearing bowling ball. Now, if you notice, I'm not going to be using resiners resin today. I actually was doing craft kitsune. That's what got me into resin crafting. And I was doing some spring cleaning, some early spring cleaning, and found that I had, in fact, still more of their resin left over. So this is officially the last that I can find for now. If I find any more, I'll make sure to use it up. But I had 2 big ones left and 4 small ones left. So I'm just going to dump all those in. It ends up working out. Everything dried perfectly. You know, there's an A and a B to each one, so to make sure you use them all the same. There you go. Now we're going to spin them all up. And after about a minute or so, then you can take those out. But they have lots of bubbles in it now. So we're going to put it into this machine. And take all those bubbles out. All right, now let's start adding some stuff in there. First up, it's Valentine, so I had to add some silver hearts. But I am single again, so I added a little bit of darkness to it. I wanted to add in a lot of red, but I decided to add in some dark red into this one. This is a dark Techno-Ruse chameleon color. And that's going to be added into the dark. And then I ended up adding a little bit too much of this, but this is crude gold. And I kind of wanted this one to be like, corrupted and dark, but a little bit of lightness in there. Whereas the other one, I want to have all of the happiness and lightness. So one light color is all going to be pink, and the other one's going to be dark. I found this one, again, I'm spring cleaning, so I found this in the bag. And I'm just going to use up all the rest of this mica powder. But I didn't want it to just be bright pink, so I added a little bit more of that Techno-Ruse, a different red that I had, and this one's like a red purple. The colors turned out perfect. Now let's get them all spun up. Now that they're all mixed together, let's look at them. So you can see the crude gold kind of took over, and it ended up being a little darker than I wanted. And I'll add less crude gold next time, but honestly, it ended up doing exactly what I wanted to do. So let's pour that resin. First up, let's finish this tic-tac-toe mold. It was already half full from the previous week. Make sure to go check that video out if you haven't seen that. I'm just going to use red on this one to make a nice Valentine's Day tic-tac-toe art piece. All right, let's move that one out of the way and move on to the next one. Well, before I wanted to do this next one, I wanted to add in some flowers. I was going to put flowers down on the bottom and then have the resin on top of it. But it fell out. I didn't realize that it was just like a little piece of plastic over top of it, and so I quickly kind of moved it back. However, if you notice, where did I just place all the rest of the flowers? Yeah, it unfortunately didn't go well. This stuff kept sticking, and so I got frustrated. I was like, I'm gonna crush this thing and put it up. And so now there's little bits of flour all in it. And then I was like, all right, let's add in this little green thing in. That way you kind of have like a lane indicator of like where you're supposed to shoot. And at this point, I realized, oh, the entire back of that plastic and paper is covered in resin. And so are all of those. I was like, okay, well, we can figure out what to do with them. Much like my love life, it's an absolute disaster. And I quickly remembered, like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do this with like tweezers, because it just crushes everything because they're already like completely done. And so, I took a little bit of time and tried to get what I can salvage. I wasn't going to put any flowers into the tic-tac-toe art, but, being as it was already in there, I figured might as well. And look at those hands. They're all just covered in resin and everything. But that's all right. Let's move on now to the bowling ball pins. And these ones are going to be solidly in that crude gold. I realized when I was editing this, I had this backwards. You cannot see it being filled up, but I could. And I realized that about halfway through, and I was like, well, I'm not going to turn it around. So next time, I'll make sure to turn the piece around so you guys can see it fill it up. These are super thin, but actually work really well. The demolding is included in this video, so make sure to stay tuned. For using a bunch of leftover resin and everything, this project turned out perfect. I had enough to fill everything up, and it just all worked out well enough, besides for the flower mishap. But, that happens. This thing right here holds the stainless steel ball, so that way you can have a little thing on the side to hold it. Otherwise, you just have this little rolling piece. So it's nice that they included that as well. I decided that the rim and the outer part of the bowling alley would also be in gold. And then with the rest of the red, I decided to have that at the end of the bowling alley. You can say you're shooting for love. And the rest of it is filled with the gold. Wow, look at that pour. It just fills the whole container. I love it. Now let's go ahead and scrape the rest of it out and get anything out I can. And then I went ahead and put it into an O for a little tic-tac-toe. So now we have one extra O. A little bit extra red and soft. Tried to use any of it I could. And finally, push down that flowers and all those little stems in so that it will not be poking out. And that will be it for this episode. Now let's get heading to that demolding. All right, looking great. All right, 328 out of 500 sub goal. Please consider subscribing. All right, first up, let's get this tic-tac-toe mold up. Demolded super easy, nothing really stuck there. And looks perfect. So you have all that color from last week and from this week. And you can see those little circles, that's from last week. Just looks absolutely exactly like I wanted. Anyone who was from a Valentine, they would be getting that nice little gift. As you can see, the crude gold here, it's like a swirl of gold and other stuff. ended up not filling this up 100%, so I could have got the back a little bit thicker, but it is fully functional. As you can see, all these bright colors looking so good. At the end there, that red perfectly, just mixing in with that gold. This right here holds the little bowling ball for you. Now let's get all those bowling pins out. I want to do one pin and show you just how long this took. Each pin takes this long. Takes about 40 seconds or so just to get one pin out. It's such a tight squeeze. But look at it, look perfect. And so I went ahead and sped the rest of them up because that took me a few minutes to do. Only one of them was a little shallow, but every single one seems to be flat enough that they are usable. I'm really happy with how this turns out and absolutely will make a few more. And it came from AliExpress, this kit, and that was the last little piece, and that's the bowling ball. And let's see how I do. All right, first ever one. We had all of them but one. Nice. Can I pick up the spare? If I do, you got to subscribe. Yay! All right. I'll see y'all next time, all right? I'm Chris Collected. This is the House of Improvements. Remember to trust in yourself, honor yourself and others, and create a world that is safe for everyone. See y'all next week. Bye.